What's up? Hi,
I am.
Manny.
How you doing, Krista?
I'm doing amazing, Manny. How are you doing?
I am better now, man. Thanks for getting this together. Thanks for doing this. Thanks for everything that
Absolutely.
you are doing. You are kicking ass.
Absolutely. So are you, man. We're kicking ass. We're both kicking ass and taking names in unity.
I tell you what, man. If I I have met so many freaking amazing people.
Yes.
Everyone. I mean, of course, we've met them the way you don't want to meet them by having to go
Right.
through all the shit experiences we've gone through. But
Right.
when you're not going through and you haven't gone through what we have gone through, I never would have known how many amazing people like you, like all these other people that I've met who are helping,
Yes.
are out there, man. So this is amazing.
Yes. I've met it. I've met some of the best people you can ever imagine that are addicts and alcoholics, and like they're trying to fulfill a purpose, and like by their pain and traumas and trials and tribulations, and they're trying to fulfill that and fill that void. And we're in that, like I said, we're all the time, I say we're in that in between world where we're not in society and we're not in the addict or alcoholism world anymore. We're in that in between world, and like you and I and our army that we are creating is where we can relate.
Yeah, man. It's like people that have known us our whole lives, they look at us now and they're like, what the fuck? They don't know what to expect. When we were at our
Right.
worst, they knew what to expect. They knew that Manny, and I also go by Gunner, they're like, oh God, what's he gonna do? What's he gonna say? And now, thank God. In fact, January 27th coming up is going to be my 4 years anniversary of sobriety.
Hell
And
yeah.
so it's so funny
Right on. I'm
because
proud of you, dude.
thank you. The people who know me since this all started only know that part of me. So when
Right.
they start hearing these stories about, me post 4 years ago, they're like, man, you were an asshole. It's like, told you. But it's
Yeah,
then
we can be assholes.
our loved ones and our friends, they see us, and a lot of them are just like, wow, and
Yeah.
it's what a difference, man. But
Oh
yeah,
man.
it's an amazing journey, and I always said that some people are almost ashamed to say addict or alcoholic, and I
Right.
always say, once I got rolling in this, I said we're part of a fraternity, man. We
You better.
are
We're
we are,
sober army, baby.
and you know
Sober
what?
army.
I hear people all the time. They'll say, people who are addicts and alcoholics are freaking weak. They're this, they're that, and I've always fired back with weak my ass. You know what? When you're dealing with alcoholism, addiction, that alone, and then on top of that, we're still dealing with everyday problems with personal issues, work issues, dealing with all that, and then you throw in 24/7 battle of addiction, and you dare want to call us weak? Shit,
Shit.
shit.
I'm telling you, like I never knew. I'm like, oh my god, why am I going through this? And like it's the cunning, baffling, and powerful, and the things that we have been through, the traumas and the addiction and everything, led us to this purpose in this moment right now. To the
Oh,
where we can help other people. Like we got to give it away to keep it. We got to tell our stories and our journey so that it's relatable. But we got to come together in unity, and we got to take this shit down. Like
oh,
we got to fight in battle. Everybody wants to stay in their own little groups, but that's not going to help anybody but the people in your group.
exactly, man. And that's like for us, uh, January 9th that just passed, we just celebrated our 1 year anniversary here at My Fight Our War. And
I'm
like you
so
said,
proud of you.
man, we have got to put this. When I first started this, I said, you know what? I'm not for everybody. My Fight Our War is not going to be for everybody because I'm not
Right?
going to sugarcoat shit. I'm
No,
not going to
and we
sit there.
shouldn't.
And the thing is, because addiction's not gonna, you know what? And that's
No.
why when I named this My Fight Our War, this all came across, happened. It was crazy. It was absolutely
Right.
crazy. And I mean, actually, if you want, man, we could jump back into what led to all this, man. I mean, we all got our stories to
Absolutely.
tell. I mean, if you
Absolutely. I
want me
can't
to,
wait to hear it.
yeah, well, I mean,
Hell
if you
yeah.
you want to jump in,
No, I want you to jump in.
Okay,
I
man.
want to
Well,
hear. I'm ready to hear this. I've been waiting to hear this.
all right, man. Well, here it goes.
I want to hear the saga and the journey and everything about what led to my fight, our war, and Manny Batali.
Well, I appreciate it, and thank you for the opportunity and the platform. And
Absolutely, my
to
pleasure.
kick this sucker off, man, I tell you, it's with sometimes when you say addiction or addict or alcoholic, people have this preconceived notion what they look like. You get this bum, you get this homeless person, you got this and that. They don't have the people living in the suburbs that are that are working hard, that are not missing work, and they got it wrong, man. And like for
Yeah.
me, I came from a broken home. My mom and dad were divorced. But the thing is, addicts and alcoholics, man, we look for anything for an excuse. It's always someone else's fault why I drank, why I did drugs. And a lot of times you'll hear, well, my mom and dad got divorced and no one loved me. And kiss my ass. You know what? Grow up. It's
Yeah.
for me, I was dealt that same thing, but in my situation, I was I jumped around with my mom and stuff like that, but I was surrounded by family with so much love. So you're not going to
Right.
hear I wasn't
Me
loved
too.
enough. I had overwhelming love, but
Me too.
yeah, and as so my issues started. It was me. It was all me. It wasn't no one's fault but me. And mine started. I took baby steps on my path to addiction. I started out, man, just like a normal kid. Sports was my biggest thing. I love sports, and so that
I
actually
can
kept
tell.
me that kept me away from drugs and alcohol most of my life, man.
Right.
When I was growing up, um,
Active.
then when I got in my early teens, like 13, 14, a lot of kids. I'm not going to generalize, but a lot of people that I hung with, they would sneak downstairs behind my dad's bar, grab a couple bottles, take some sips. And that was, me and my buddies. And it just went from that to then as I got older. I mean, that wasn't a turning point. Like all of a sudden at 14, I was slamming a fifth a day. Or I mean, it wasn't that at all. It was experimental. But then when I got
You were a
older,
kid.
I was a kid, man.
You was a
But
kid.
I always said I did an interview with Brad and Sober School and Dan and Donna at Hard Knocks, and I was telling them about
Yeah.
this sports and all that shit. It helped me and it hurt me because fortunately I was pretty good at sports. Hockey was my game, man, and I was always put up a league or two, with older kids. Well, with doing that, when you got into like the high school age and juniors, well, now I'm playing hockey with guys that are 3, 4, 5 years older, and trying to emulate the things that they're doing and all that. But I mean, that still wasn't the thing because even in high school, I mean, I would go to the high school parties and have a few beers, so it still wasn't an issue. As I got older in my 20s and stuff like that, of course, man, now I'm legal, so drinking. As far as
Fun
drugs and stuff, it
times.
was mainly, I'm an 80s child, man. And so back then, it was mainly just smoking weed and doing some mushrooms and stuff like that. And, but then as I got older, you know, um, with me, really, and I always say too, an alcoholic and an addict will always lie. If you say, how long have you been drinking? Or how long's been a problem? About 5 years. Well, double it. So it's been an issue for 10 years. So it's like, we're really good at fudging those numbers. But for me, honestly, looking back at it, mine became an issue probably in my mid 20s is when I started noticing issues where drinking and drugs started to affect my decisions, started to affect my life, work, personal life. And as I got older, things started to take that little nosedive. And, then the drinking became more relevant. Um,
Right.
and then I went from besides just mine was usually beer, man, just beer and then a few shots. And then that turned into, hell, towards the end there, over a fifth and a half a day towards the end.
Damn.
But, um, so I'm not going to sit there and try to blame stuff or bad childhood and all that. No, man. But for me to get to the meat of this and the dirt and the big car crash that we all want to see is 4 years ago is when all this stuff started hitting, and that's when the drinking. Well, probably it's been 4 years, January 27th, that I was sober. The drinking got worse probably about 5 years prior to that. So that's when things started escalating. That went from beer to a couple shots to all of a sudden beers and buying a pint, beers to then graduating to a fifth. Yeah. Then it spiraled towards the end there. When things got really nasty, in fact, we'll jump right into when things just went right downhill, man, because there's a lot of stuff in between that I can fill in after this. It was 4 years ago, and it's about the month it'll be 4 years ago. I was taken to Henry Ford in Detroit, Michigan. Here, Henry Ford Hospital, for the people in Michigan, Macomb County know.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
I was just like, oh shit, God's pissed. Oh man, yeah. Okay, God.
I was like leaning in to listen to this shit, and
I'm thinking that's coming out of your mouth. I'm like, Satan. Wait for your head to spin.
Get the shit out of me, too.
Yeah, you know what, Kat? Yeah, this has been fun.
Proceed. I'm so sorry about that.
Wait. I need a drink. This time it'll be water.
I know that's right.
That was good. That was
fucking
good.
Around and finding out right now.
Sound like fucking Little John. But
I got all kinds of sound effects on this thing right here, so I'm like, I have a lot of fun with it. But I actually didn't mean to do that.
Hey, that's why it's live, man. I'd love that.
That's right.
You go ahead and do that.
Uncut shit.
Yeah. But okay. So now let's see. Did I tell you about my PTSD? No, man. No, but okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So back to when things got worse, man. It was like I said, about 4 years ago. And my drinking got to the point where it went from literally a fifth and a half a day. I mean, I would lay there in bed and I would sit there, and with the drinking, I didn't know that insomnia was part of that lovely journey too, man. So I wouldn't sleep. And then, I would be laying there looking at the clock. It's like, shit, the liquor store doesn't open for 20 minutes, 7 a.m. Come on. And towards the end there, I remember going to the corner party store, and a place I've been going for years, that I've known the owners well. And I walk in, and actually it was the day before that when I was at my mom's house, and a friend was there and said, your eyes are yellow. And which I obviously noticed that morning when I got up, and I knew, I've been in the medical field for years. I was with Detroit Police for years. I've got medical background and stuff like that. So I knew what was happening, and I didn't give a shit. And I remember saying, I know. And then I was, they said, you got to go to the hospital. You're going to die. I said, I don't care. I didn't care. So that next morning is when I got up, made my beeline, and went to the party store, and, got my bottle of bourbon. And, actually before that, like I was telling the guys that first interview, just to get the bottle with the shaking hands was an adventure, man. It looked like I had cerebral palsy or something like that, man. I was so bad just trying to pay. It was pathetic. Man. And, I still can't believe it looking back at it, but I went to pay, and the person that I've known, the owner's wife, she goes, "You're yellow." And I didn't say a word to her. I just looked at her with glare, like, just give me the bottle. And went outside of the truck. I couldn't get that cap off fast enough. That's how, it was bad. I remember making it back. Making it back to my mom's house. And it's pretty much gets foggy after that. I do remember trying to get her attention. if I was yelling or whatever it was. But next thing you know, EMS is there. I get taken by ambulance to the hospital, which is like 2 minutes away. For those in Detroit, Macomb County, they know Henry Ford. So I was taken there. And within a short time, that's when I started really blacking out. They told my mom and my family that there's nothing we could do for him here. They took me to the main hospital in Detroit. I was there a total of 27 days, I think it was, and about the majority, about 15 to 18 of them were in ICU. I coded. They brought me back, and basically came in one morning, and this freaky looking dude came in, woke me up. I was all by myself. This doctor, who I nicknamed Dr. Death after what he said, he wakes me up and he says, "Man, I got to talk to you." Then he starts giving me numbers, statistics about labs. I'm like, what are you talking about? So he said 6 out of 10 people with numbers like you have, pancreas, liver, kidneys, they don't make it. Me, I started laughing. I'm like, well, shit, I'm glad I'm not one of those 6. He goes, no, man, you don't get it. Yours are worse than theirs. And I just looked at him. And again, man, I'm in the middle of dying here, which I didn't know yet. And he said, yours are worse. There's nothing we can do for you. He goes, you've got less than 6 weeks to live. So, just we're sorry. It's just me in the room, no family, no friends. And he just walks in, lays this on me. And then he goes, I'm sorry. He gets up and leaves. So I'm just like, So I'm sitting there, and now, granted, the pancreatitis was so freaking bad, they had me on Dilaudid to knock me out. Plus, the liver's shutting down, so the enzymes are knocking me out. So I fall asleep, and he had an associate, a younger female doctor who was just awesome. I remember hearing a voice, and I woke up a little while later thinking, was that a dream? And I look, and it's her, and then it was like, oh, shit. And she goes, I know you talked to my associate. And she actually started to tear up. And I go, this is real. And she said, yeah. And I said, please, there's got to be something you can do. And she said, I'm sorry, there's not. And I said, how long? I go, how long do I got? And that's when she said less than 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks to live. And she just started crying. And I just sat there and looked at her. Nothing. There was nothing. And she said, do you want me to stay with you? And I said, no. So I called my family, loved ones, talk about a hard phone call to make. And I remember saying, I need to talk to you guys. You need you to come in. So the friends and family, my mom, aunt, they came in, and had my mom come in, and I told her that, I'm sorry. I go, but I'm going to leave. I've got less than 6 weeks to live. I'm dying. Well, right away, they all thought I was just out of it on medication until the doctors came in and said, no, he was in organ failure for the last 20 days. His kidneys, pancreas, and liver now have shut down. They're not functioning. We got hospice came in. They set me up with hospice to go home, and they came in and said, we're going to keep you comfortable. You're not going to get any pain. You're going to be, you're just going to go to sleep. And I was just like, and I'm talking to him just like me and you are. And so I said, okay, just let's do this. At the time, I didn't care. And so they left. And the whole time, my family and friends, especially my mom, it was like I didn't say it, because she was just like, no, it's not going to happen. And I was like, Mom, you got to get a grip. And she goes, it's not up to them. It's God's will, not theirs. And I was just like, so the next day they come in, and they're doing blood work to get the labs to hospice to have them take over. Well, the day after that, they're coming in. Now there's 2 more doctors to do more blood work. And I'm like, why are you doing blood work on a dying guy? And they wouldn't tell me. They just took more blood, and they said, we're running tests. What? So I go, listen, I don't want to die here. I want to die at home. Get my ass out of here. And I remember At that time, like I said, I was with Detroit Police and all that. And then in my crazy adventures, I actually went and started riding with the One Percenter Motorcycle Club in Detroit, the Detroit Highwaymen. Uh, Pretty well known club. And I remember telling the one doctor, I said, I'm not dying in a hospital bed. I'm going to go out with a bang, man. I want to go get me a fifth, 8 ball, bunch of strippers. Let's just go out in a bang, man. And this went on for 6 days. They left me there, not telling me why, just more blood work. And every time more doctors kept coming in. I felt like I was like in a zoo, they're all just looking at me. The last day, the Dr. Death and this female doctor come in, and I wake up and the room is full of doctors. And they're all just staring at me. I'm like, what the hell's going on? The Dr. Death is smiling and laughing. Well, I wasn't real pleased with that. So I said, you rotten bastard, man. You're freaking laughing at a guy you're going to send home to die. And his associate said, Manny, we're sending you home to live. And they go, we don't, he goes, your organs have shut down. Your pancreas, liver, kidneys stopped functioning. Zero output, man. He goes, that's why all these doctors are here, because not only did my numbers, my labs stabilize, they all started, sorry, my elbow's still jacked, but they all started going back to within normal limits. And that's the big guy upstairs, man. I tell you what, man. They were in there. They couldn't believe it. They said there's no pills, there's no medication. Organ failure is organ failure. And they said mine was so severe that they were surprised I made it that long. And then when they finally shut down, they just said, you're done. To go from that, fast forward now to the 27th of this month will be 4 years. I'm as healthy as a horse. I'm working out 7 days a week. Well, until I bust up my body from working out and stuff. The only medication I'm on is blood pressure medicine and other stuff. But it's talk about a blessing. And
yes, you're a walking miracle.
Yeah, man. And
you're a walking miracle. All I can say is, but God.
I've never, I'm Italian, born and raised Catholic. I've never been a Bible thumper. I've never been pushing religion. And even after this happened, it's not like I was like, thank you, God, going to church. It was like, no, man. It was, in fact, I was doing that first interview and they asked about I was told that, how was I afraid? Was I crying? And I said, I felt nothing. I said, the only time I was ever afraid is when they said, man, you're going to live. And I was like, but they said, even if you look at another bottle, you'll die, and I was like, how am I going to live without drinking? How am I going to live without, it was scary. It scared the hell out of me. Right. And,
I get what you're saying.
Oh, and then to throw more on top of that, the fuel on the fire is this was 4 years ago. And 4 years ago is when COVID shut the world down. I was told I needed severe rehab, man. Well, I went as soon as I got out, I went and they said, the world shut down. These facilities are closed. They said, we can't help you. I never went to any meetings at all. I never had a sponsor. I never had any of that. Not because it wasn't available, because of COVID made it unavailable. Right. I couldn't get the help. I was told if you have any issues of thoughts, suicide and all that, go to ER. That was it. So up until right this second, I have never had any type of rehab counseling. And to the grace of God, I have never had any withdrawals. I've never had any cravings. It's like I never drank. And
like you stay active. The My Fight Our Wars. Tell me how that started.
That actually, and that goes back to me. I've always been good at talking a lot of shit, talking a good game. You know what I'm going to do, Krista? I'm going to do this, and this, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it tomorrow, or then tomorrow I'll do it next week. Well, that's when this did happen. I'm like, you know what? I've been blessed, man, and I do want to give back. And so what did I do? Nothing. I didn't do a damn thing for 3 years. And it was 3 years ago, well, before this past January 8th, the day before, I was sitting outside or sitting out in my kitchen, and out of nowhere, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to form a support group. And I remember saying, no, man, not a group. I'm going to I'm going to start a family. And of course, I've talked shit my whole life. So I was just like, oh, yeah, yeah, sure you are. So I remember sitting there thinking, well, I'm going to do this. Well, I need a name. And I'm like, what do I say? I got to have some, because I've never done anything like this at all. So I'm sitting there tapping my pen. And Krista, I'm not kidding. All of what I'm about to say happened within 10 minutes. I was sitting there with my pen and my paper, just tapping away. And I wrote, my fight, our war. And I was just like, the fuck? Okay, what? All right, God, that's a good one. I mean, I just wrote it. And I looked down and it just clicked. I'm like, my fight, our war. My fight is my personal is drugs, alcohol. Some people's, heroin, meth. Some people it's eating disorder. So whatever their addiction is, that's their fight. My fight, that's theirs. Our war right there, our war is addiction. Addiction is all of our war. So my fight, our war. I'm like, fuck, that's good. And then I'm sitting there and I go, And I've always loved wolves. I've got a huge ass wolf tattooed on my back that I've had forever. Animal. Oh, love it.
Yeah, that's my spirit animal. I love that.
Isn't it the best, man? So I wrote my fight, our war, and then I can't draw for shit. So I'm sitting doodling a wolf. And then underneath it, I wrote, join our pack. You'll never be alone. And
I love that.
All of this, Krista, was within 10 minutes and not even putting any thought into doing it. And I remember getting a little tear. I was just like, wow, man. So I did it. And I remember it was late at night. And I said, I'm going to start this, tomorrow. I'm going to get on Facebook. Well, there it is. Tomorrow, I'm going to do it. I had a piece of paper and I wrote my name. I put Manny Vitale. I put Gunner and I put the date. And I taped it to a cross in my bedroom that night. And I said, I'm going to see that when I go to bed. And then when I see it when I get up, and I'm going to do this. The next morning, I saw it the next morning. And I was like, screw it. I grabbed the phone, started going on Facebook, started it. And next thing I know, I'm like, no, what do I do? And next thing you know, there was like 3 members, 5 members. I'm like, I remember when I got 10 members, I was like, I got 10 people. I thought that was like, and then the next day there was like 20. People. Man, I tell you what, this thing has just been a savior.
One human life is priceless.
You got
10. That's 10 human priceless lives.
It was unbelievable. And I just remember the feeling of the one thing I did was a lot of posts. And even before this, for the last probably 4 years or so, I started doing morning Facebook posts that were very inspirational and, never telling people you need to do this, just positive outlook, positive stuff that I've been doing. And a lot of people, it was not so much, it was for them to just make us all think, but a lot of it was for me to keep me in the right frame of mind. So that helped. And just the feeling that, because I was getting so many responses from this. I mean, people saying, you're doing this, you're doing amazing stuff. And I remember it felt a little weird, hearing good things. Yeah. Well, then lo and behold, my biker life came back to give me a smack in the face because I got a message from one of the guys I rode with. And he said, yeah, I see you're doing all this good stuff and all that. And he goes, just remember, Gunner, I know the real you. And he wasn't being a dick. He wasn't trying to threaten me or anything, but he was just, and this was a message. He didn't try to throw it out there. And he goes, no, I'm just saying the crazy stuff that we did. And so the next day I did a long ass post and I threw all my shit out there. I threw the stuff that I could. Yeah,
Right.
there was stuff that I couldn't, like with the police department, with the club, just for very
Right.
specific reasons I couldn't talk about.
Right.
Um,
I
and the
understand that.
response was so overwhelmingly warm by everybody. And then starting this was just unbelievable. And one day I was out walking by my where I live here, right around by the water here, and out of nowhere, I sat down, took my phone, and I did a video. It I have never done interviews or videos or I mean, I hated talking to myself. I mean, I get all nervous and shit. And now Krista's like, now we can't shut this asshole up.
I love it.
But
Keep talking, man. I love like when you send me messages and stuff, you're like, fuck yeah, we're gonna kick ass to take names and make recovery our bitch. And I
oh,
love that
it's
because it shows motivation, it shows enthusiasm, and I love it. I love it. It's like
yeah,
that high energy that it's contagious and
eh,
contagious and happy is when you're happy, you are healthy. And when you're
bam.
healthy, you're happy.
And the thing is that and you nailed it. It's contagious. And
Contagious.
then a lot of it, I've had people say, you might want to tone it down a little bit as far. I said,
Wow.
hell no. I said, you know what?
Wow. You wouldn't be
Addiction,
you if you did.
yeah, an addiction isn't kind. It isn't nice. Addiction's ugly ass coward. And we got to fight it. And the fight is down, dirty, ugly, bloody, and people die. You know what? And I wish that all of our we have so right now, me and you, man, we're here
Yeah.
talking talk about a
So
happy
like
ending.
what do you think like when people see like us and they're like they remember us in like you were saying like the dude said I know who you really are and stuff like that, but do they, because that's not, it's who I was, who I became, who I am, and who I will be, and
Yeah.
I'm not that person anymore, and I won't let it define me, and I don't got to validate shit for nobody because I know that I'm doing the right thing, and I know that I'm out there. I want, we are, I am, we are creating, and we got to stand up and fight instead of staying in our little cliquish groups. We need to stand in unity. We need to stand, and that's why I call this the Sober Army podcast for
And,
Sober Patrol. I'm out
and
patrolling for sober people to help other sober people, and so on and so on and so on. You know, I want this more to be just more than a post. I want this to be more than a podcast. And I
yeah.
don't do this for money or fame or anything like that. I faith. I want people to say, "Man, she used to be a bad drug addict, and wow, look at her now," because it shows that change is possible.
Oh
And
yeah.
and when you
Everything's
see
possible.
living, breathing miracles, I've witnessed it. Like people you thought would never ever get out of addiction or out of these chains, they are rising and they're facing everything and rising. And I
Yep.
love that. They're
Yeah.
kicking
And
ass and taking names.
And it is too, man. We have been so blessed. And I only speak for myself. And even with my fight, our war, I'm like, yeah, I formed this, I created this, but it's the last thing it is I. The last thing it is me. That's why from day one,
We
I said, we are not a group, we're a family. And this is not
right.
this is we, this is us. And that's the way I attack this. And,
That's
our
why I
family's
say army.
amazing.
We're an army
Oh,
of
and the
family
thing is, like you said too, people need
banding
to
together.
talk about it. You need,
Yes.
I think we touched on it a little bit last time. Is
Yeah.
sometimes people, especially family members, if when it comes to discussing this, they're embarrassed, and
Yeah.
and you can't fault them. And just like with
No.
me, I always say, I earned all of the negativity that I brought on to myself because of the people I hurt. I own that. I have to. I did it,
You have to
and
own. Yeah.
and it's just one of those things where we have to accept it and just deal with it and not blame others.
Yeah.
And but
If we don't talk about it, we won't grow.
no,
We won't successfully achieve our sobriety without talking about it. We
gotta
have to talk
talk
to other
about.
people because if not, it's like pent up and you're just going to keep the definition of insanity doing something over and over, expecting different results. And you're
Yeah,
not going to get different results if you keep doing the same thing. You got to talk about it. You got to let it out. You got to own it,
gotta
accept it,
own it.
accept that you're powerless, You can't do this by yourself. You
Oh,
need other people and relatable stories like, huh, well, Manny went through that. Damn, that dude went through that too. And I went through that. It's those kind of stories that say,
yeah.
damn, look at him now. Like, wow. And it's an inspiration to see you setting where you're setting right now and me
It,
setting where I'm setting right now. And I'm
oh,
blessed and I'm grateful.
oh, it's such a blessing, man. And the thing
That's
is,
such a blessing.
we owe it. Well, when I say that, man, I always catch myself. I feel that I owe it to the people who aren't as lucky, who are dead, who didn't make it,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
and to do all that. And I have someone, my little brother. He's not my blood brother, but he's my little brother, Kevin
You don't
Prince.
have to be blood to be family.
Oh yeah, Kevin Prince. My brother Rick and his wife Nancy were neighbors that lived across the street from me in my old house, and I watched their kids grow up. And Kevin battled addiction most of his life, and unfortunately, the demons got the best of him, and he passed away. He fought. He fought that kid. And I remember when I was having some issues, I went over there and me and him took a walk. And I had a lot of other issues. Like I said, I was in my first close call with death. I'll touch base on a few of them to show how blessed I've really been. And Kevin was walking with me, and he goes, Manny, he goes, you're going to pull through this. Here he is telling me, and he's going through all this stuff. He goes, you're
Right.
one of the strongest people I know. He goes, you're going to beat this. He goes, you should have been dead 4 or 5 times already that I know of, and you're here. And
That's right.
and all of a sudden he passed away. God, was it 4 years ago, 5 years ago now? And so when I do things, I think of Kevin and his mom and dad, Rick and Nancy, and I had them on my show, and that was a very hard interview because here they're my family, and Kevin was my little brother, and here I am, and he's not. So I owe it to myself. I owe it to God. I owe it to Kevin. I owe it to all the Kevins that aren't here
Right.
anymore. And
Amen. Amen.
but like you said, Krista, as far as it's got to be talked about. I've had people
Absolutely.
say that we don't want to discuss that outside of the house. Well, if you
It's not
don't,
society inclined.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
why.
because
Society has made you ashamed to be. I used to. I'm guilty of that, Manny. I used to judge people like I used to judge like, oh, look at them drug addicts, or because I was raised I wasn't exposed to those kind of things. I come from a very southern rooted, amazing family that didn't drink, didn't do drugs. My mom drank and stuff like that, but like I wasn't. I used to judge people like me because my family did. Oh, well, they're on drugs, and it just made you have this stigma that they're bad people because they're doing drugs.
Mhm.
And now that I know the truth, we have to stop that stigma of the judgment that sometimes those people just want you to say hello to them, and maybe that hello to them was like their validation of their life at that moment,
That they
or
matter.
that they matter, that
Yeah.
their life matters and that they have worth,
You
because
know what, Krista? The one
we're
thing
all
that
humans.
the one thing I was just about to say is one thing people that are blessed enough not to have this in their life is when you look at someone like me and you and all of us, remember we were people before we were addicts.
That's
You
right.
know, we're people just like you. So when you point the finger, just remember if it happened
That's
to
right.
me, it happened to you. It could happen to anybody. And that's the one big thing. And
I never thought it would happen. Never. I never
man,
thought it. Never.
it just yeah, this journey has been unbelievable. And I've been, like I said, been blessed more than once. I was involved in a pretty serious altercation. Like I said, my crazy life, man, when I went back in my crazy riding days with the clubs and all that stuff. Like I was telling someone, how was your day start? And I go, well, I'd start off by putting, throwing my jeans on, my leather, putting my 40 cal on my hip, a 38 on my in my vest, a knife in my boot to raise as much hell as I could.
Oh
And
yeah.
that lifestyle followed me. And I was involved in an altercation. Guy pulled a coward ass move on me and shoved a gun in my face, and turned around and there it was. And we started fighting and the gun went off. And next thing you know, I get hit and I got a plate under this left eye where they had to screw my face back together. So that was that occasion where shouldn't be here. And then it was less than a year later, it was another altercation. I got stabbed right down the side of the face. And then of all things, I went to the hospital for a stress test, and I had to have an IV started. Long story short, with that one, I had to stay overnight. I started feeling like hell. And come to find out, I looked down, my vein was pure red, rock hard and distended, starting to go up my arm. I ended up giving me sepsis. They had to rush me into rush me to the OR, saying, "We're going to do everything we can for you, but we don't know." There was another surgery where,
And you can die from that too.
yeah, and there was another surgery I had where there was one of my many shoulder surgeries. They went to take the tube out, my throat spasm shut, and my both lungs filled with blood. They didn't realize it, and next thing you know, I'm back in ICU from that. I had my appendix burst. All these things that happen, and I had a nurse one time tell me during one of those crazy moments, he goes, "Man, you're here for a reason." And I remember this was way back, before, this was 20 years ago or more. And I remember thinking, whatever. But all of these things, and I'm still here, man. And like I said, that you always hear, to whom much is given, much is expected, or much, yeah, or however it goes. But it's the blessings are to give our experience, to give what we have been given, is just an amazing feeling. And then, like I said, meeting you, meeting Brad, meeting Patrick, our buddy Paul, everybody that we have, our stories are unique. Our stories are they're ours, and they're different, but they're so much the same. When you dig down to the core, man.
Relatable.
They're relatable.
And like you said, we have to talk about it. Have to. And that's like me. Like when I started this podcast, it was something like God put it heavy on my heart to do the things and follow through with things that you say you're going to do. Have a clear head. The meaning of sobriety is pure of heart, clarity of thought, and doing something in repetition over and over and over. And the acceptance and the powerlessness that you have to bring your higher power to be able to do these things. I'm not trying to promote AA here, because when you hear my story, it will be unsugar coated, because it's real. I've survived a lot, and I'm a warrior. And guess what? I don't cry about it. I don't do anything about it, but I can help other people that are going through it.
Yeah. And that's just it, man.
I survived it. I'm standing in front of you to tell you my story because I survived it.
Yeah, we're not looking for pats on the back. We're not poor. No, man, not poor me. You didn't do it. I did it. But
I did.
And then when we're talking to, well, like all your people, then and your family, mine, and then other people we meet, when they hear our stories, it's not like, well, you think your story's good, listen to mine. No, that's not it. We're sharing our pain.
And when you're new in sobriety like that, of course, when I was new in sobriety, I was like, I don't need this, that the block is the non-acceptance of, I don't need this program. I don't need this shit. I don't need these people. I don't need rehab. And I was wrong. And I thank God every day that I was arrested. And I know they seen me hugging a cop like this past year. They're like, "What in the hell are you doing over there hugging a detective?" I'm like, because I'm thanking her for arresting me. And she's like, "Oh my God." And she sees the transformation that I have made. And I said, "Thank you." Because if it wasn't for that, I'd be still running from cops or doing rebellious things that I never would have done in non-addiction, because I had my shit together once before, so I know how to do it. But
it's
crazy ass Jerry Springer shit.
And the thing is, too, I'm sure you get it just like I do, man. And there's people out there who are counselors who do a lot of help, life coaches and all that stuff to help people. And some of them, by the grace of God, have never drank or never experienced what we do, but they care and they're doing this. I've always said that I will never knock any organization or anybody who's trying to help. Whatever their methods are, I may not like them or agree with them, but they're trying. Just like you said with AA, when I got out, I had people shoving AA down my throat. You need to
Mm.
do this. You need to do that. You got to get a sponsor. You got to go to meetings. You got to make phone calls. You got to do this. I remember going, I need to have a freaking drink after all this. You guys are, enough. And for me, I remember that wasn't for me. The AA,
I mean, it's not for
the
everybody.
stress, exactly, the boundaries, the steps and all that. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. That means it wasn't for, just like My Fight Our War. I always, from the beginning, I said, we're not for everybody. We're social media. We're not in person and all that. But if you're part of us, I want you to feel comfortable and to be able to talk. And if you're in need of more structure, let us help find it. If you don't have it, we'll find it for you, man. But we're here just like you're there, man. And we're just going to continue to help. So for all those people that are out there helping, man, I tell you what, we got, people who are part
Thank
of
you.
your family, well, it's all one family now, man. But
Absolutely.
yeah, I mean, if your bottom line is to help, then man, I'll go to war with you anytime.
Absolutely.
But
I fight our war. Love
yeah. So
it.
and that's why in fact, I like to promote all these other places. For people living in Detroit area, Macomb County, I ran into some people at this place called Live Right Structured Recovery. I believe that's the right. But anyways, these people just live right structured recovery are amazing. And we're definitely going to be doing work with them, the stuff they do for people. And the thing is, that's just the tip of the iceberg. When you're not confronted with all these issues, you don't know that these entities exist until it's too
That's
late.
right.
That's why
Right.
it needs to be talked about. That's like when you see, I'd like to see this shit here, what we have
Yes.
on running on commercials on TV, on
Yes.
regular local media. I mean,
Yes.
we've got gambling commercials, we got liquor and all those commercials, which is great, man. Run it. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying don't do that shit. I still go to the casinos and bars and all that stuff.
But they're also, I have learned that, like, in my program, things like that, they say that there's some people that can go a weekend, do a little coke, some drinking, and be good for 3 to 6 months or a month or whatever. And those are not addicts. Those are not alcoholics. Those are just social drinkers. But then it's like a lot of them turn into like the alcoholics and addicts when they're not addressing their mental health. They're not, you know, rooted from trauma, things like that. I know that
Yep.
a lot of mine stems from the mental health and trauma from, youth and things like that. It rooted my cause of my alcoholic and addict behavior. But it's now that I use my alcoholic and addict behavior in a positive, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But I mean, there are people that can just go out, drink, have a good time, and be good. Like they just social drink. And I wish I would was at first it started that.
That's
It
how we
started
all
that way.
started. Yeah.
That's how it starts. And it's like you gotta have that strong mind, the mindset.
Yeah. And the thing is too, I've had people, talk about that as far as, well, how do you know if it's an issue? Whether the drugs, alcohol, whatever it is. And the thing is, you're the only one that can. I can't answer that. You have to be the one to answer that. And it gets to me. It's to the point, if whatever it is that you're doing gets to the point where it's taking over your life, and you're not
If it
taking your
affecting your
life.
family,
Yeah, then it's something that
your
needs to be
money,
addressed. If it's something that you have to have on a daily basis, or else you can't function,
that's
then
right.
it's a problem. If
If
that's
it's
something,
affecting your finances, if it's
if
affecting
it's,
your
yeah, if
family, if it's affecting your
exactly,
children, if it's affecting anything that affects your serenity when you're doing drugs or alcohol and it affects that in any way, shape, or form, you have a problem, especially if
yeah,
it's a daily occurrence. But the fentanyl thing. That is I have lost a lot of people, like a lot of people in the last few years. Like I can
no,
scroll through my pictures of people that I was close to, when I was out there and everything. And it just kills, like you said, we pick up for where they left off
Yeah.
because those people didn't have the knowledge, or they didn't have people to talk to, or they didn't know where to go. I knew nothing about sober living houses. I knew nothing about bus lines or rehabs or this or that. When you hear my story, you'll understand.
Well, I tell you
Um,
what, I'm gonna. Well, you're personally invited to come on my show and tell your story.
yes, that's what's
That's what
up.
I love. So, whatever you
I
want
would
to do,
love that.
whatever you want to do, that man, we're gonna do it, and we're gonna flip flop, and I'm gonna go
Yes.
out and I'm gonna give me one of those little sound effect machines and scare the shit out of you.
Green way to do this, like this is my favorite.
I was
I
thinking
got
of you the other night because when I was asking you about those different tools you use for, like I said, I don't know anything about this stuff about the effects and all that. I went over to God knows which app I was looking at, and it had effects, and that was one of them. One of them was a shotgun rack, and the other one was that one. As soon as I heard, I went, Krista. Yeah, that's
We're
scary,
shooting
man.
down drugs.
Yeah. What does that remind you of? You don't want to know. But
This crazy
man.
white chick that lives in Ohio from Texas.
Oh, that's right, you Buckeye person.
Oh yeah, no, I'm still a Texan, Ohio. I mean, I'm sorry, Ohio. I love you too, but
Oh, see, man, I've always loved Texas and all that
I
stuff,
love
man.
Texas, but
I,
it's too. It's I love Ohio too. Like I've met some really amazing people here, and
oh,
but all my family, my children are in Texas, north of Amarillo, and I'm missing home a lot right
oh, that's
now. But it'll
well. I
be
tell
soon.
you what, man, you are your home is right there, man. Because I tell you,
Yeah,
you're affecting a lot of people's lives in such a positive way.
and so are
Um,
you.
and
And
it's
that's
what a feeling, man. I mean,
it is.
it's
And it's like I wouldn't miss having this show with you tonight for nothing, and any other show that I do with everybody else, because everybody's equally important. But I was really looking forward to this one because I know you've got that motivation and that high energy like I do about recovery, about sobriety, about the journey, about getting other people to talk about it, and that is what God intervened us together and crossed our paths for a reason,
yeah.
and for a lifelong brother and friend. Love you.
Back at you, man. And just like we were
Back at you.
talking the last time we were talking about that, not talking about it. Remember, it was like you just put another drink in their hand, you just put another needle in
Yeah,
their arm, man. If you
that's right.
don't talk about it, it's not taboo.
It's
Addiction
like
is not a death sentence. We're living proof.
it's always the tomorrow. Oh, and I know because I'm guilty of it. I'm like, I want to stop doing it, but I'll do it tomorrow. I just want another, I just want another hit, or I just want another more drugs. And
Oh,
I, I remember being there, and it's just like, wow, look how far I've came from that. But finally, it took, to get out of that haze for a minute to have some clarity. Okay, I really run it. I don't want to do this anymore. I do not
it,
want to do this.
it
You give
was
yourself that clarity for
and the thing is, it's
patience.
not going to happen. People can talk until they're blue in the face, man.
Yes,
Until you're ready, until the big man's ready. Because I remember I was reaching for anything,
yeah.
but I didn't know what I
Grasping
was
at straws.
reaching for. I didn't know which way to turn. I didn't know what to do. And a year, like I said, man, I was down. One of the places I always talk about in Detroit is the Father Slants Casey Center, and I love that place, man. And like I said, I will never push politics or religion on anyone in our family. And if anyone does, that's unacceptable. But what we do is offer suggestions. And faith, I don't care if you have faith in this pen, whatever, you have to have faith in something. First, you have to have faith
Something
in
bigger, a
yourself.
tree is something. Yes.
And my faith, knowing that it got to the point, I don't give a shit what other people think about me
No, you don't
at
have to
this
validate
moment
shit.
because I got to take care of me. And
You're
I,
gonna die in your life. You are, and these people are gonna die in their life. We're gonna be
yeah,
the only ones to die. I mean, there's gonna be people die around us, but that was their life. You're gonna die in your life. I'm gonna die in my life. And for me, I do believe in God. I do believe in, we won't even get into all the religion and
I,
everything, but
yeah,
I pray every day.
Oh,
The more I
every
pray,
morning, man.
it's when I'm disconnected from God, I'm disconnected from myself. Because
It
without God,
is.
I can't do this.
You'll see every morning. In fact, I got my crazy dog that my family knows about. It's a cat, Susie, but it's my dog, DAWG dog.
I thought
And that
when
big
you
ass
said that
dog,
that day, I was like, that looks like a
she
cat.
is
And I'm like,
crazy.
oh,
Oh, I tell you
I love
what,
it.
she is really amazing. All the surgeries that I've had, that she is like, she is in tune. And it was so funny because you're talking about prayers. Every morning I get up, do my stuff, and before I leave, I grab the Bible off my nightstand, I kneel down at my bed, and I start saying my
Mhm.
prayers. One day I was in the living room and she was there, and I go, "Come on, Susie, gotta say our prayers." Just kind of just being funny. So I walk in the bedroom, I kneel down, and I start saying my prayers. And I'm talking out loud, just as can be, man. I'm just doing my thing, and I got my eyes closed. And all of a sudden, I feel my hand nudge. I look, and it's Susie with her head nudging my hand in the Bible. She laid down between me and the
Aw.
Bible, laid her paws across my hand. And I was like, oh, that's neat. The next day, I'm sitting there. I'm like, all right, time to say our prayers. I'm doing the same thing. She came running in, jumped on the bed, laid down. To this day, she does the same thing. She could be downstairs
Aw.
eating. It's just the weirdest thing, man. So all
She's a
these things,
cutie.
it is, it's this my crazy dog Susie. But the
I
way
had to
that
look twice. I was like, I'm pretty
that's a
sure that's a
cat.
cat, Manny.
Just don't let
I
her
like
hear
to
the C
ironic.
word. Not that C word.
Right, I got you. All that C word means is see you naked tonight. That's all that word. Or see you next Tuesday.
I got you. And
I do that power positivity flip thing, and I'm like, oh yeah, well, that's not what that means. I have
you
a
know,
sense of humor. I
hey,
have
you
to
know
have a
what?
sense of
We have
humor.
to. If we can't
I
laugh at
use
ourselves after what we've gone through,
I mean, I talk about it all the time. I'm like, oh man, Jerry Springer, he's not here anymore. Rest in peace, Jerry Springer. I would have went to his show because I was the Jerry Springer show waiting to happen right
oh,
there.
and
I've
the
hit
thing,
I've hidden teddy bears running from cops, like things I would have never done in my entire life. And I'm like, let's go. Yeah. So
and the thing is, and we laugh at ourselves. I
yeah, I
laugh
do.
at
I laugh
myself
at
more than
myself.
anybody. I mean, I'll
You
do
just like
stupid shit.
picture like, oh my God, really?
Well, that's just like with the videos that I do and all these recordings. I screw up on 90% of them, and I don't edit them. Hey man, that's me. I just leave it. It's just what
It's
it
okay.
is. And
I got this little mirror thing right here, and then like probably the first like 10 minutes of the show, I had something in my teeth. And I'm like,
well, it's
I'm
just
like,
like
I'm
me.
just gonna have it.
I'm
I'm like,
sitting there
Randy, you
doing
didn't tell
videos.
me, man. I have
Oh,
like something.
yeah, is that? Ugh, yeah. Well, that's just like me. I'll be doing a video, and all of a sudden, and it'll be intense and something really, getting in deep.
Yeah.
And then like the one I was doing, and all of a sudden I'm like, yeah, and also cut. I'm like, ah, fuck, and I spit a bug out. I go, freaking bug, and then I just kept right on going. It's just like, hey man, show goes
I
on.
know. Me too.
Um,
I'm sitting here looking in the mirror, and I'm like this while you're talking. I'm like, oh my God, seriously.
it's just like,
It is what
do I got that
it
bug?
is. What it is. Like those kind of
Hey,
it is what it is moments. It's like
hey, if
I'll
that's the
I'll
worst
own
thing that
it. Like
happens,
yeah, I'll own it. And like, what can you say after that? They're like, who ate the lasagna? I did it. And
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what can you do now? I owned it.
You own it, man. I told you about that my brother Kevin, and I just wanted to, I'm not sure how much time we got, but
We have as
my
much time as you need.
well, I really need to shout out to my brother Jerry, who is no longer with us, and you talk about a strange situation. I've known him since we were in fourth grade. He was my best friend ever. He was my brother, my blood. I loved him, and it was me and him and me, and we did everything together. We drank together, we fought together, we laughed together, we cried together, and he actually died right in my arms. um,
Mm.
he had some serious drinking issues, and we were all drinking at the time. This was God, how 15 years. I mean, it's been so long, but I remember going to his house because we didn't see each other for a couple of months, just because work schedules and all that, whatever it was. And my one friend called me, he goes, man, you see Jerry? He goes, he's not good, man. You got to get over there. I walked in and he was in the basement. His gut was distended. He was yellow,
Mm.
organ failure. And here, this was way back then, and he was spitting up blood. I'm like, Jerry, we got to get you to the hospital. Looking back at that now, that was me just
Right.
recently, because I remember getting him to the hospital and he was so bad that he had me doing a lot of the talking for him because the family wasn't there yet. So the doctors were dealing with me. They talked to him when we got him there that day, and they put him right in ICU. They pulled me out in the hall and they said, that's it. There's nothing we could do. And he made it about a little over a week. And I remember we were talking while they had to do a test, and they actually had to put a tube down him. But he was talking the whole time up until then. And the doctor told me he's got less than a couple of weeks to live. And I walked in and he's like, Manny, what'd they say? What'd she say? And I looked at him. I said, Jerry, she said that you're ugly and quit hitting on her, just to try to. And he goes,
Right.
Manny, he started to cry. He goes, Manny, when I get
Oh.
out of here, he goes, I'm never going to drink again. And I'm like, if you only knew.
Oh.
Well, they called us and they said, you guys need to get in here. And I remember going to the hospital and sorry,
No, don't apologize.
we were all in his room and he was laying there. And I remember like getting into bed and just holding him. And he took his last breath in my arms. And I just remember thinking, what a terrible way to go.
Yeah.
And here, 4 years ago, that was me laying in that bed, yellow as can be. And yet here I am. And I tell you what, they have a thing, that I lost friends in the police department. I lost friends in the motorcycle club. And it's just like, why them and not me? And they deal with like called survivor's remorse. It's like, why? And I just remember for Jerry, and so I do this for Jerry too.
Right.
And so this is to you, Jerry.
You, Jerry.
But
To you, Jerry.
yes,
And to all those people.
to all the
their lives
Jerrys,
went
to
right.
all the Kevins, to all the
all the
Jerrys,
Kims,
man.
all the
Yeah.
deaf girls who died this past year, and I mean, there's just been I lost. I'm so very empathetic to you right now. That could have been you, and you're living in his honor, and you're living in your own honor,
And
your life has God has a different purpose. If we would just quit trying to write our stories on our self-will run riots and trying to write our own stories instead of trusting the process that God has planned, and that we're here for a reason, and that reason is right here, right now, with you and me, all of these people that we are going to touch their lives in this
yeah,
sober army, my fight, our war, sober patrol. This shout out Patrick, the push up recovery or push out addiction, push up recovery.
oh yeah,
Um,
man. I mean,
Patrick
all of those
Moore,
guys,
sober as fuck mafia, all of these guys,
all the and that
Killjoy
for
training.
yeah, for me, man.
Our family's growing, Manny.
I tell you
Our
what,
family's growing,
my
man.
first one
Love
was
it.
Brad McLeod, man. Brad McLeod at Sober School. He gave me my very first spot. God bless him. Dan and Donna from Hard Knocks.
Hard knocks. I would
Like
love
I
to
said,
meet them. I can't wait to meet them.
oh, they are amazing. They are such good people. Brad is just awesome. The things that they do and just learning from them. I watch and I try to pick up as much as I can from everyone. I mean, you learn every day, and
Absolutely.
yeah, and it's just amazing. And so and I always try to throw Brad and Dan and Donna in and Sober School and Hard Knocks because they, I always, like I told Brad, he was that one person for me that started all this rolling, and then Dan and Donna, and then you, and then Patrick. I mean, it's just that amazing snowball from hell that's just going to
Yes.
come down and smash the shit out of addiction. And it also takes, so you and me, we could be that one person for someone who's watching this.
Yes.
So please, it's like I
Absolutely.
tell people, man, for all the people, My Fight, Our War, go to Sober Patrol as well, man. Click on
If you
that
need
button.
help, if you
Yeah,
want to
man.
get help,
We're
if you
here.
are in addiction right now, recovery is possible. And you think that right now you can't live without that drug or drink or alcohol or whatever it is. You think that you can't live without it. We're living proof that you can, and you will. And it's so much happier in life. Life is so much happier, and it does get better.
Yeah.
Every single day of my life gets better, and I'm blessed beyond measure.
I tell you,
Humble.
it's an amazing ride. And I thought, like I said, the most terrified I was is when they said you're gonna live. And I was like, how do you live without drugs and
Yeah.
alcohol? How do you I mean, I have to start my morning with my bourbon, with my tequila, with my, and
It's that irritability, discontent
oh man.
that
And
we experience that we have to go through. You're going to go through irritability and discontent because you're filling your body with toxic shit.
that
And
you
then,
know n- just to like for me, I mean, I always love being like not the center of attention, but being out there and just having fun and all that.
yeah,
But it was
I'm the
usually
same way.
after getting all shit faced. So I
Me
remember
too.
thinking, how am I
And we
gonna
feel like
I don't
shit.
I don't know how to act. How am I gonna know?
That's the
I
problem I've had.
Oh, it was gonna be so I my plan was I was just gonna go home,
The
stay in the
confidence
house,
level.
not do anything because there's no way to deal with with society being sober because I didn't know how.
Right.
Next thing you know, I'm out having a riot. I'm at the gym with all my buddies. I'm going out doing riding with all the guys. I'm doing all these things. Just I was just like, man, there's some to this sober stuff after all. Man, people were right, and and it's a battle. It's a fight, and the
It is
thing
a
is,
fight. Every single
like we
day
said,
it's a fight.
we it's got to be discussed. It's got to be talked about. It's got to be stop being pushed under the rug. It's got to be put first and foremost into the right up front. This is a freaking problem. I mean, we're not inventing the wheel.
No.
Here there's been AA, there's been Al-Anon, there's they've been around forever. All we're doing is bringing it more out to the open to public because
Highlighting it.
if you only realize I only knew about all this stuff after it damn near killed me. Let's put it out there and advertise it on TV. If you want to advertise liquor and gambling and all that, great. Throw in a couple
Advertise
commercials.
recovery.
Yeah, throw it. Next thing you know, hey, join Chris at Sober Patrol. Join Pat. Join Manny. It's just
I say we do that then.
hey, put that on local media. You know what? Super Bowl, man. That's always gambling and all that stuff on
Yes.
the Super Bowls. Let's have let's have our commercials run.
Okay, so that's another thing. Like some people are like, oh, just because they're celebrities in recovery and blah blah blah. I'm like, wait a minute. Those celebrities, because they're celebrities and everybody knows them, can get the word out there just by one commercial. Like one person, because everybody's like, oh, that's blah blah blah, and they're in recovery. Um, who was it? I don't know. I can't think of her name right now, but it's like this big famous person, and everybody knows her. Why wouldn't that be something that you would want to support you? And
Exactly.
why, of course, I want to be popular. I want to get the word out about addiction. I want to take this shit down. I'm sick and tired of watching people die when they could have a quality of life. You can. You can. And
You
it's,
can, man.
you
And that's
can.
like it's just the
I'm
main thing
passionate about it. I want to help everyone.
and that's just it. I remember when I first started this, I remember praying, just like you said, if you could help that one person. So that's what I go, dear God, just let me help somebody. And then I remember watching, some people love Joel Osteen, some people hate him, some people love other ones. I love it,
Right.
man. I just the
I
messages
like
and all
Joel.
that.
Yeah, me
And I
too.
remember one of them was pray for what you really want. And I'll never forget those words. Pray for what you really want. And I remember the next day down at my favorite place, Father Solanus, I remember kneeling down praying at his tomb. And I instead of saying, dear God, I want to help somebody. I want to help. I changed it to I want to help. Afterwards, that I want to help as many people as I can. And I remember just kneeling there. It's like that's not what I really want to say. And I'm like, screw it, man. I want to help change the world. I want to make a difference in the freaking world. the next day is when all of a sudden I got the call to be on Dan's show or one of their shows. It was just like that. I was like, man, you were quick, but it was like, pray for what you want and go for it. And
That's right.
just because you don't get it doesn't mean your prayers aren't answered. They just aren't being answered
Because
the
I
way
don't
that
have to
you
do
want.
this. I get to do this.
Yeah. I mean, it's
I
not my
get to
will.
do, it's not my will, it's God's will. And I get to do it. I get to be alive today. Thank you, God.
Oh,
I
yeah.
get, I get to help other people. Like last night, I went to an HNI, which is hospital and institutions. I go and speak at rehab. And I went with a panel, and it was so cool because I was sitting up there in the front of looking at all these people in rehab, exactly where I was at one point, saying, I wish I was up there. Now I'm up there, and they're asking me for advice, and they're, things. And I'm like, all these women were coming, flocking to me, and you could just tell like the desperation. They see that I'm clean and wearing heels, and I look nice, and I did it. And to me, that I mean, you're gonna make me choke up. But that was so fulfilling to see and look in their eyes, the look of I want what you have. I want
Yeah.
what you have. And I said, here's my number. Call me and I'll tell you how to get it. I will
It's
show
just,
you. I said, I can lead a horse to water, but I can't make you drink it. I will climb any mountain with you, honey. But you got to start that climb.
yep.
Start the
Yep.
climb, and I'll reach my hand down for you.
Yep, just like you all say, man, it's really easy to push someone down when they're on their way down, but use that same
Yeah,
strength to pull them up. And that's what
that's
I
right.
want to do. And I mean, if you ever have an occasion where you're somewhere and if they have a Zoom or if they have links and they have people that can join in wherever you're at, and if that's a possibility, man, I'll join you anywhere, to be part of that conversation. So, that's what my fight
Look,
our
I
war,
will come
man.
up in a trap house and I will get you.
Oh,
You
man.
call me in the middle of the night, I'm gonna get my brothers in AA and posse together, and I'm gonna come get your ass out of that shithole, and I will come get you. I promise. Because I
And
wish to God I used to pray for somebody to break down that door and come get me and save me and help me. Like I've been there. I've done that, and you know what? I fear nothing. I fear
yeah.
one thing, and that's God. That's it. I fear nothing. I'm armored now. I will come. I'll come get you.
Yeah, and that's just it too, man. And for the longest time, addiction, it like I said, I call it the freaking coward it is because it attacks when you are at your weakest, when we're most vulnerable, man. That's when
Yes.
addiction and all the bullshit and the lies start coming at you, and you start
Yeah.
believing all of the crap. And then you got the
Which
people who
instills
love you.
fear.
Oh yeah, and you got the people who love you, and they're the ones that you're lashing out at the hardest. And then the ones that really could give a shit about you are the ones that you I think are your buddies because that your parents, your friends, they don't understand you. Here, have another beer. Here, have another hit. Here, we
That's how
understand.
it happened to me.
That ain't your
That's how
friend,
my
man.
relapse happened. No.
Oh, the ones who love you the most are the ones that you probably hate the most at that moment. They're the ones who are
Yeah.
that you're hurting the
But
most,
we
and they're the ones
understand
that
that now.
yeah. At the time, it was like, but now looking back, it's just like that saying you hurt the ones you love, man. I tell you what, and that's just it. Your friends and your family, the ones who care, are the ones who are crying, are the ones who are screaming,
Yes.
are the ones who are just throwing fits. The ones who
Because
are
when you're
laughing with you and offering you more beer, more liquor, more drugs, saying, "Oh, we understand
they're
you."
not your
Screw that.
friends.
Yeah, we're
They're not
not.
your
Yeah,
friends. And they don't care about anything. And being in active addiction and being in alcoholism, they don't give a shit about you. They only give a shit about yourself. I know because we were there once. We didn't give a shit about nobody and anything around us or anything else. We just wanted that next high or that next drink or whatever the case may be. But you know, I sometimes see, like I've even seen like drug dealers, like in the last few weeks actually. I look across from me in an AA meeting, and there's this man. I said, "Man, he looks familiar," but of course he's chunkier and he's got his health back a little bit. I said, "Oh my god!" And he comes and he just grabs me because like things have happened. We don't even have to say anything. We are where we are. We know what happened. We're no longer there. That part of our life is an illusion because we are at where we're at now.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's crazy, and it warms my heart to see all these people that I saw in the streets and I saw in active addiction and things like that, that they're getting help and they're getting what they need to be out of life. And it is just that's fulfilling.
and
It
it's a
is
bond. I mean, it's the
yes, and
bond
it's a
that
and you don't even have to say anything. The amends is made just by that embrace or that man. I'm glad you made it.
just a
I'm glad
simple
you did
word. Sometimes just the look that, like you said, you
that's yeah,
because you
it's
can
just
relate. You know what they're
yeah.
feeling, they know what you're feeling,
And there's
and
no hard feelings anymore. You don't even have to say you're sorry to each other because of course, those people shit on me. They stole my car, they did this and they did that to me.
yeah,
But
but we love you, Krista. We're here for you, Krista. Oh yeah, yeah. It's just
right. And
uh,
let me tell you, I
so
had
much
I
has
had what they call
changed.
agape love. I fed these people dinner after they stole my car and abandoned me and left me out in the snow and somewhere I wasn't even at. And it was the cruelest thing I think anybody's. I've had guns to my head and it wasn't as cruel as what they did to me. And
It's
then I go and I feed them dinner to their family. And all that I needed from that was you to look me in my eyes because I don't have to say a fucking thing. You just look me in my eyes and that's all I need. Happy Thanksgiving. Let me tell you right
I'm
now,
tell
that takes power and that takes practice and that definitely takes God to do some shit like that, to have that kind of strength
oh,
to be
without
that
a
person.
doubt.
It's a practice thing. And then you got to understand that they're sick too. They're sick and suffering and that they need help from other people. That's fine.
Yeah,
You took all my shit. It's material.
and
So let's get you
exactly,
some help. Let's get you some help.
and that's just it too, man. Because people that they they look, like I said, that they the ones that say it's a choice, it's not a disease. You're just weak. You're this. You're that. Man, unless that it sounds so cliche, but man, have you been there? No. Have you done this? No. Do you know what it's like? No. But it doesn't. They'll, it's not a real disease like cancer, diabetes. It's a disease. Well, you know what? Addiction needs to be treated just with as much aggression
As
in form
diabetes.
as
As
diabetes as
diabetes. As
yeah
important.
yeah man. I mean, it's something.
That's great.
It's
They have
killing people.
rehabs. And it's killing people. This shit on the street is killing
Yeah,
people.
and then you're
What they
always
say that a death, there's an overdose every 11 hours in the United States, or
no.
11 every see, 11 every 1 hour. Jelly Roll says it. I don't know, it's like this big thing. I know you should watch that. It's on my face. It's on my page about,
Oh,
oh,
it's just
oh,
something that it's you see this going on, and it's like, well, you made that choice. Well, you know what? Actually, you're right because I did choose to do this, but it's not the right frame of mind because
right,
of the disease. You know,
right,
my brother Rick, the one Kevin's dad, he said that he tried to relate, but he never did drugs. He never had those feelings until one night.
right.
Kevin was so bad, he was begging his dad to take him to get some heroin, to get a fix. And Rick was like, "Are you crazy?" And then Kevin started to cry. He goes, "Dad, I don't want to be like this." And he goes, "This isn't me." And it wasn't Kevin, it was the addiction. And that's what people got to remember, man. People were people before they were addicts. Kevin was this
Right.
cute little
And
kid,
there's
man.
still people, even
There's
addicts, they're
yeah,
just
they're still
sick
people, but they're
and they're
sick.
suffering.
You wouldn't
They're
sit there and tell
sick.
someone with cancer or diabetes, ah, well, that just sucks for you because, well,
There's
wait a
no
minute,
insulin for
diabetes,
you.
no insulin. But you get someone, what's your disease? Addiction. Oh, you
No,
just
well, that's
quit.
not important.
Oh, well, I've had
Yeah.
people tell me, all you gotta do is just quit. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, why didn't I think of that?
Oh, that's,
No,
right there
Krista,
is
you didn't
fighting
tell
words.
me.
Like, oh man, that's a whole story right there. I'll tell
You
you
gotta
that
get
now.
one of those for
Well,
your
just
dump button. Just
you
quit,
got
just
to
quit.
stop doing it, and it's not easy. It's not. This is an everyday fucking thing that I struggle with. It is every day. But by helping other people is how I get through that. Those fleeing thoughts. I don't have bad days now. I have bad moments. And that's
Yeah.
very far and in few in between. I have bad moments. I don't have bad days. You know,
I'm working
and
on it. I'm working on it, man. I'm work in progress, but I tell you what, My
aren't
Fighter
we all?
War, Silver
But this helps
Patrol.
you, doesn't it?
Oh, it helped because I do get, we all
Because I
have our moments,
understand you.
but
And
yeah, that's what it is. And it's just like,
your
okay,
story like moved like in I I want to hear people's stories. I want to hear what you went through because every single time I like there was a lady on night before last with me and Patrick. She's from South or North Carolina. Her name is Ashley Ingram. And the way she spoke was very you could tell like she had been through some bad shit, but she was standing in her stature. And that's what helped. She's happy now and she's remarried and things like that. It just it's very inspiring to see other people, and I want to help you share your story so that you can help somebody else. Something I say, you say, she says can help them.
yep. And
And
all it takes is one person, the right words, and you could have just saved a life. And just
so,
listening. Sometimes you don't even have to say a freaking word. Just letting someone know you're there. Just
so
hey, listen, I'm here.
yeah,
Go ahead, fire away. Just listen. You don't even have to say a freaking word, man. But it just
so
if you
there's
just do
relatable.
something.
There's so there's relatable things too. Like some people, like I don't watch a lot of TV. I would rather do something like this than watch something on TV. But this is real life, real shit. And there's a guy I met. Shout out to Matt Keegan if you're listening, if you hear this podcast or watch it. He's I met him about 3 months ago at a place called Our Place in Ravenna, Ohio. And this man rapped. Okay, he was rapping his testimony, and in the background of his testimony, he was screaming like somebody had recorded him an active addiction, screaming, "Please, God, help me!" And oh my God, it gives me cold chills right now. And he screams about this, like he needed help, and he screams it during his thing. Oh my God, it's just so moving. Some people relate through music. Some people relate through podcasts. Some people relate through celebrities. Some people relate. Well, let's find out those ways. Let's relate.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
sick of this. I'm sick of this shit.
That is like keep doing stuff. It's like, well, what should I do? Like, and I always answer anything. Do anything. The worst thing you can do is fucking nothing. When you do nothing, someone's gonna die. When you do nothing, someone's gonna, take another hit and it could be their last one. You do nothing, someone's gonna take their last drink. So do something, and
And I
that's
see
just
some
the
of
way
these
it's gotta be.
and some of these people don't even know who they are. They don't have the knowledge. They don't know who they are. I'm like, do you like music? Yeah. What kind of music do you like? Do you like to dance? Do you like to draw? Do you like to do art? Do you like to make stuff with wood? What do you like to do? What is your niche? What is something you like to do? So I found I wanted to start a program last year. It's called Fill the Void, and it's to fill that void of addiction. So I started a street style dance program and joined I was going to join the 10K movement. This is before my relapse. Things kind of went downhill, and I relapsed by drinking some alcohol and then weed and drugs all in one day on Christmas Day last year. But
Mm.
I had this entire program that I was going to start cultivating hip hop music and street style dance artists to give them something to do like MC, DJ, dancing, art, graffiti. What is your niche? Something you like to do. And it made them feel important and that they had work.
Yep.
I want that to go worldwide. I want to start a flash mob. I know, as insane as it sounds, get up and dance with me.
Hey,
Let's
you know
dance
what?
for our recovery. Let's get up and lift some weights. Let's build our bodies.
And that's just another thing too is there's so many with My Fighter War we always say you don't there's no right or wrong thing to do, man. And when it comes to it, for me, what works for me, I love going to the gym. I love going to Father Solanus in church, and I love being in the woods. I love my Harley. These are things. But for some people, but that's all right,
You
man.
don't know.
Maybe it's cooking, maybe it's crafts. When you start to feel that trigger starting to fire, man, that's why I love, like with
Running.
all of us, think
Yeah.
of, give suggestions. Don't sit there and say, you need to do this. No, man, try this, try this, try that. All
You
these
don't know
other,
if you don't like it unless
yeah.
you do it. That's the
Well, I
same
tell
with
you what,
drugs. You
and one
didn't
of the,
like you didn't know if you like drugs until you did them, right? And
exactly. And
then
then, like, for
until you didn't.
exactly. And then for me, a lot of it in my past was a lot of anger, a lot of just
Yeah, me
all this
too.
stuff. And now, one of the things I did an interview, I was talking to him about it. And I said, now I look forward to confrontation, but it
But
brings about
it's a
controversy.
healthy.
Yeah, because the controversy is very good. Not yelling, not screaming. Not controversy brings about conversation. And I said that during one of the interviews, and it just clicked. Yeah, controversy doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Controversy
No,
is good, man, as long as
it's
you do it the right
diversity.
way. Yeah, man.
Diversity
You may
brings
not agree
unity.
with me. I may not agree
Right.
with you,
But
but
we're together talking about it.
we're talking. So
That's
we are.
right. We're talking, man.
We're already ahead of the game.
That's freaking right. I know that's right. I have really enjoyed this with you, Manny, and I definitely will do it again. And I'm definitely, yes, I'll come to your show. Thank you.
And by then, I'm going to give me one of those little boxes with that saw machine so I can scare the shit out of you.
Oh God, that
But
scared the shit out of
but
me.
I tell you, man, I do really appreciate being on your show. I appreciate everything you're doing.
I'm so glad
And
you're
I
here.
tell
It's
you
really
what, man,
important.
whatever you're doing, if you need us, we're here. So
And
right now,
vice
just
versa.
everybody
I'm
out
a
there,
solo. I'm a solo crew, but actually I'm not. I got all of you. You're
that's
my
right, man.
family. We're all an army of one together. This is
That's
not in
right.
competition, in group competition. This is not. The more groups, the merrier. Let's all join together. That's how we're gonna stop this. We're gonna ban. I just picture us all standing on the outside of the borders of America. Yes, I want to go outside of America, but we need to help what's inside real
Oh, we
quick
got to help
first.
here first. But,
We got to
that's
help here
like,
first.
yeah.
I'm
And the
not.
thing
I'm not.
is, everyone just, that's listening, man, do something, reach out, join Sober Patrol. Come check out, join us at My Fight Our War.
Yes.
Patrick over at Push Out Addiction, Push Up Recovery, Sober School,
Yes.
Hard Knocks, all of
Sober
them,
as
man.
fuck mafia.
Sober as fuck mafia, man. Do it. Reach out, be part of
Battling
the
addiction one
solution,
day at a
not part of the
time. Matt
problem.
Keegan. That's right.
Yeah,
Knowing
man.
that guy
But
Matt Keegan, you should really go on there and listen to.
I'll
It's
check them out, man. But
it's
but
battling addiction one day at a time. It's the site. It's amazing.
well,
He got famous and he goes on Washington. I would love all of us to meet up one day, like
without
everybody
doubt,
that's on. Without a doubt, we're definitely going to meet up in person at some big convention or one
we'll
we
make it
make for us.
happen.
We'll
We'll
make
make
our own convention.
Hey, we'll make it
Bring
happen,
our
man.
army together.
But I tell you, man, Krista, I appreciate it.
I
I
appreciate you
really
too,
do.
and I love
And
you,
I love you,
and
man. I wish you the
I love
best.
what
Be
you're doing.
safe in this crazy weather.
Yes,
And
be safe.
and for all of our Detroit Lion fans, go Lions.
Go
I had to. Hey.
Texas. I'm kind of like, I got to be partial to my family. Probably going to be listening to this, and my kids. Cowboys, yeah.
Oh,
Don't tell
man.
nobody. No, I'm just kidding. Love you, babies.
All right. Love you too, man. You have a great night.
All right. You too. Bye bye.
All right. You take care.